Welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show, and it's time for Bullbusters, where we bring the facts and the fire to destroy the lives of the GOP. And who's back? It is Nida Khan, writer, producer, does a lot of stuff. Been on the show a lot of times. Nida, good to see you.
Good to see you too, my friend. I do a lot of things, always causing trouble, but good trouble.
And yes, and speaking of trouble, Tara Dublin is back. Writer, commentator. She has the book, The Sound of Settling, a rock and roll love story, host of the Tara Show on YouTube, and also a very popular Substack as well. Nice to see you, my friend.
It's always a pleasure to be with you, Dino.
Great to see
Dino
you.
is Kino.
I like Dino's Kino. So let's start with, I'm going to read the claim and then we're going to alternate the fact checking. We're going to start first up for the facts and fire is Tara Dublin here. So Tara, here's a claim. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, which sounds like a fake name of a guy.
His name is Mark Wayne. Okay.
First name, Mark Wayne. He had two first names. His parents were like, Mark or Wayne. Give them both.
Let's just do both. Just go for it.
Go for both. Mark Wayne, John, the Baptist, all of like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John Mullen, the senator, claimed on CNN yesterday that it was Obama that gave a sweetheart deal to Jeffrey Epstein in 2008 before he was president, which actually the deal was agreed to in 2007. Then Epstein pled guilty in 2008. But the new spin is that somehow it was a plea deal struck by Obama. And so tell us the truth here about Jeffrey Epstein. Who gave him the great plea deal?
Nobody. The facts are that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were best friends until they weren't. And there was a manufactured public falling out because they wanted to keep raping little girls together on the DL. And Trump essentially admitted that by saying, he stole her. He stole Virginia Giuffre from me. What Mark Wayne Mullen did his name is Mark Wayne. He also hid like a scared little bitch on January 6th. And he also doesn't even have a bachelor's degree. That's fine. The point is he stood on the Senate floor and said, we're just trying to give President Trump coverage. Well, just admit what you're doing. This is a giant cover up. The entire Republican Party is invested in covering up what Donald Trump did. And what Donald Trump did was rape little girls who were sex trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, who, by the way, is as big a monster as Epstein and Trump, if not bigger, because she's the one who procured the girls and groomed them and got them ready and also participated. So for any Republican, whether it's Mark Wayne or it's Speaker Jesus Freak or whoever it is, they are covering up for a pedophile who raped little girls. And you have to say it that way. You cannot say it any other way. You cannot be sugarcoating it. You need to use the words and say the words. And recessing Congress because you're worried about that's not going to change anything. This is never going to go away. This is sticking to him like nothing else. And you can try to give him coverage, Mark Wayne, but the truth is he is all over the Epstein files and he keeps using the Streisand effect to tell us so. So every single day he makes it worse for himself and he keeps lie-fessing. I made up a word, lie-fession, because what he does is he has a string of lies he has to cover up for and yet confessing at the same time. So he's lying that there was a falling out and he confesses it's because it was over a teenager. So it's all of it is disgusting. And anybody who is incapable of seeing this for what it is doing it willfully and on purpose. So you're covering for the rape of children. That is what you're doing. And basically giving her partial immunity is saying, we're fine with some raping of children as long as Democrats are doing it. So it's horrific. He has been lying to MAGA about this for the last 3 weeks, but also since May. And until the files are fully released and until more people hear, like my recording of Katie Johnson's victim testimony, which is my pinned post on all of my socials, it's going to they're going to continue with this smokescreen, but we know what the truth is. And I think MAGA does too. And we're seeing some of that pushback. And because this is sticking to him like nothing else, we're the ones that are going to have to keep pushing back. So when he says something like that, we newsjack and we go under there and we say, here's the truth. Here's the truth. Here's the truth. And that's why we're here.
I agree. And Nitha, what is your take on this and corrections of the bullshit of Mark Wayne, Luke, and everything, all of them? Go ahead.
So my first question about, about corrections is, in that CNN interview, did Tapper or whomever was doing the interview, did they push back and correct in real time?
Tapper said, I don't think you're right. That was Tapper's pushback.
Okay.
He literally said, because factually, it's not even the same world. that the facts are Alex Acosta was George Bush's appointed U.S. attorney in Florida who gave him the deal, which they agreed to in 2007. He pled in 2008. This was all a Republican cover-up of Jeffrey Epstein. And there's no doubt going back since then. So what is your take? What do you want to say, my friend?
No, exactly. So that's actually what I was going to say. I was going to cite that fact that, federal prosecutors in 2007, when Bush was president, and then it was Alex Acosta, who was the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Florida, and the agreement was reached months before Epstein pleaded guilty in 2008. Well, I'm glad Tapper said something, because it's very important, in real time for journalists and for media outlets to hold people accountable, because that's first and foremost. They're getting on television, they're getting everywhere and spreading these lies. And I do agree that this is just an attempt for Trump and everyone to distract and try to change the narrative, because this is something that is sticking to him, unlike anything else, honestly, that we've seen. Other things have not stuck to him like this, because it is even people from his own base that are holding him accountable and holding Republicans accountable for the Epstein saga. Like, you even saw Joe Rogan yesterday or whenever it was talking about this. So you're seeing a lot of this in the MAGA world, in the right-wing world. People are keeping the story alive. It's not just Democrats, it's not just liberals, it's not just elected officials on the Democratic side that are talking about it. You're seeing it across the board. And Trump is doing everything to try to change the conversation. He's trying to blame Beyonce, he's trying to blame Obama, he's trying to blame everybody so that it does not come back to him. But until, he would have been better off if he just said, okay, this is everything, we're going to release it, and that's it. By doing all this vague stuff and keeping it hidden raises even more questions from everybody across the spectrum.
I agree. So let's go to, and you guys kick the crap out of that lie. Let's go to claim number 2 here on Bullbusters. And this one's for Nitha. Benjamin Netanyahu's claimed about starvation in Gaza. What a bold-faced lie. There's no policy of starvation, and there's no starvation in Gaza. So, Nitha, what is your take on Benjamin Netanyahu saying something that even Donald Trump fact-checked on Monday, which is kind of bizarre?
Exactly, which is right. That says it right then and there, right? Netanyahu is somebody that should be in The Hague, should be arrested, should not even be around walking freely, war criminal to the umpteenth degree. It's absolutely disgusting that he has the audacity to even utter such words. We could go back to even in October 2023, the Israeli military ordered a complete siege on Gaza, halting food, fuel supplies. So this is not something that just happened with food shortages, but now it's gone next level. And I'm going to read some recent facts for you right here. So a United Nations affiliated organization that tracks food security worldwide has issued a dire alert confirming that a, quote, worst case famine scenario is unfolding across the Gaza Strip. The IPC, a global initiative that provides food security analysis for charities and UN agencies, said famine thresholds have been reached for food consumption in most areas of the Gaza Strip and for acute malnutrition, specifically in Gaza City. The report said that more than 20,000 children have been admitted for acute malnutrition treatment between April and mid-July, with more than 3,000 of them severely malnutrition. Hospitals have also reported a surge in hunger-related deaths among children under 5, with at least 16 fatalities reported since July 17th alone. We're talking about complete forced starvation, where the body starts to eat itself, like the stomach lining when people are not eating. And you're talking about children that don't have baby formula, or their mothers aren't producing enough milk to feed the children. I mean, just absolutely horrific stuff. And then when they try to get food, they're being shot at and killed by IDF soldiers. We've seen many reports, even the BBC reported this over a month ago, that these shootings were happening. So it's the most cruel, vicious, evil scenario that one could possibly imagine. Starving, desperate people trying to get food, then being shot at and killed. Just horrific situation. And now, you have all this performative stuff with people finally speaking out now. You had France that, recognized, said that they're going to recognize a Palestinian state. The UK with their semi-threat or whatever that was of recognizing Palestinian statehood unless Israel does something, and a lot of that is just honestly it really is performative. It's like, where were you the last 2 years? We're going on almost 2 years of this horror. We've been seeing mass killings, over 60,000 people dead, or hundreds of thousands of people injured. And remember, like, of the dead, you're talking about tens of thousands of children that have been murdered, killed, maimed, can't walk, and now people literally on the brink of the worst famine we're seeing.
It's certainly heartbreaking. I had a professor on last week, Omar Bartov, who's actually Israeli, and he talked about how now Gaza has the most maimed children in the world per capita. That's what they have now. And this is from a year and a half of this. So, Tara, anything you want to add on that one before we turn to Tulsi Gabbard and her lies?
I mean, it's just so unbelievable that anybody is allowing this to continue, and that there should be an overabundance of food drops from the air. That's what I was just on a different podcast with Hal Sparks, and he was saying that the solution here is over dropping food so that no one can steal all of it, and that there's not any food insecurity, and that there's such an abundance of food that everyone can get it. So that they need 3,000 calories a day, you drop 12,000 calories a day. If the budget is $30 million, then you drop 120 million. And, that way the trucks can't be stopped. Trucks don't have to be stopped and inspected that way. You drop food, you drop more than they need, and you continue to do this. And eventually Hamas is like, well, we can't steal all of that. There's just too much. I don't know how you implement a solution like that, but what I do know is that you call a genocide, and you continue to call it that. And every single person who used that genocide Joe during the campaign makes me furious, because Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump are both war criminals who want Gaza flattened. They want everyone removed so they can turn it into the Atlantic City of the Middle East. So Trump belongs in The Hague along with Netanyahu. They're both owned by Putin. It's all of it. And as an American Jew, you can hold the Israeli government accountable while still hoping the Israeli people can survive. And you want the Palestinian people to survive. I'm just naive. I want everybody to leave each other alone to live in peace like we're supposed to. That's just me, though.
That's very nice.
Just one quick thing, though, because airdrops are not enough. Like, the way to get the quantity and amount of food that's needed is through the food trucks. And even the Israeli military came out and said, I believe it was this week, saying that Hamas wasn't the one stopping food trucks from entering in. So it's really important that we, blame who needs to be blamed.
Right, absolutely.
Stopping it. And that's what
I mean, the one thing before Netanyahu ended the UN Relief Works Agency's efforts, there were hundreds of food distribution points around Gaza. Those are gone. That's why there's images of people walking miles to get food. That's because ridiculous. Netanyahu, with U.S. contractors, there are, I'm sure, Trump donors making money.
It's a shady.
Right. So they're making people walk, and then there's massive people, and then they're shooting at the massive people. So the soldiers are actually getting nervous and scared, just like, let's just shoot at them. I don't know what to do. None of this had to happen. This is a man-made catastrophe, and humans are the ones that have to stop it. But I want to get to, we could talk all day about this topic, but let's shift gears. I'm chatting with Tara Dublin Nida Khan. It's Bullbusters. Let's go to this time Tara Dublin for a block. Tulsi Gabbard has said, she's director of national intelligence, which is just laughable. She said that she's uncovered overwhelming evidence, and I'm doing air quotes, but that's what she said, that Barack Obama and others manipulated intelligence to pretend, to lie, that Russia was actually interfering in the 2016 election, and they weren't interfering in the election, and it was treason, says Donald Trump. But we'll focus on Gabbard. Tell us the truth here, Tara. What's going on?
Why don't we ask Marco Rubio the truth, considering he was on the committee that determined there was Russian interference in the 2016 election? It's ridiculous. And it's such a weird coincidence that this report just emerges in the middle of the Epstein mishegas, right? Weird timing. Just weird that this was uncovered miraculously right now. It's bullshit is what it is. And if the Democrats did anything to interfere in the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton would have won. You dumb MAGA morons. If Democrats were cheating, we would have won. She would have won the popular vote and the Electoral College. You morons. None of this works. They love to scapegoat anyone. But if Donald Trump can scapegoat a person of color, he will do that. It's just, if he could only scapegoat a black woman for this, he will. He'll try. It's everybody. He already went after Beyonce. It's everybody's fault but his. Everybody is in the Epstein files but him. And if anybody is in the Epstein files, it's about them. It's true. But about him, it's fake and planted and vile. What? No. No, it's nobody's fault that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files except for Donald Trump. And Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian asset and always has been. She was never a Democrat. Hillary had her pegged from the beginning. Hillary was right about all of it. And I have that meme on my phone that I will keep forever. And then I'm going to have it made into a shroud. And it's her going, fucking told you. I want that made into a shroud so you can wrap me in it when I die mad. Because
you're gonna die mad.
Well, we're all gonna die mad about Hillary not getting in and Kamala not getting in because this mediocre white man got people to help him cheat to get back into office. So that can be another thing for another time.
Sure.
But what this comes down to is Tulsi is a liar owned by Putin. Ta-da.
Fair enough. And Nitha, the idea that Russia didn't interfere to help Donald Trump, it seems beyond laughable. In that there was the Mueller report and the Senate report. I was even used by the Russians. Completely true. They did. I was writing for the Daily Beast at the time, and one of the guys writing an article about Russia's interference in the election. And they go, Dean, your image is here. It was an Instagram account that was controlled by Russian assets, and to get Muslims to vote against Hillary. And they had pictures of Linda Sarsour and me, and then propaganda and others. In 2016, I was kind of big in the Muslim world. Now I'm eclipsed by Rama Yusuf and Mo Amer and others, but it's fine. But I'm saying, like, at that time, so like, it's so funny. So I was actually used in it, and the Daily Beast showed me, and they wrote an article and they mentioned it, that Dean, who writes for us, is it being used by the Russians. So, I mean, I don't even know, there are even people on the right who are fact checking this on Fox News going, no, Russia did try to interfere. I mean,
wow.
what you think
that is wild, Dean. I never heard that story about you before.
Oh, yeah.
First, I feel a little, inadequate here. I've never been part of this information.
Maybe Russia will use you in 2028. Who knows?
Yeah, right. We'll see. We still have yet to see, right? Or even 2026 in the midterms. None of this, like we've been saying, I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So, okay, I will just very quickly from factcheck.org. So Gabbard's claim relies heavily on an alleged contradiction between a January 6th, 2017 intelligence assessment that Russian President Putin had ordered a, quote, influence campaign in an attempt to help elect Trump, and earlier intelligence assessments that concluded Russia did not successfully use cyber attacks on election infrastructure in the 2016 election. So basically what she's trying to do is, put the two things together and say that because there wasn't like actual infrastructure sabotage, that there wasn't in interference by Russians, which is a bunch of bullshit, as we have just laid out, as you laid out eloquently, and so did Tara. And this is just a continuation, like we said, of he's the master distractor. So of course, anything he can take attention away from him and his many other failures that are going on. And also all of the horrific things that they are doing, taking away people's Medicaid, taking away all kinds of, programs that we have paid into that have been there, essentially dismantling the federal government. So while you're taking away all these programs that benefit us, that help people survive and live, you're trying to distract with these other things. And anytime, like Tara said, that they can blame Obama, they can blame a person of color, it's just meat to their base, and they're trying to see if anything will stick and run with it. And so far, honestly, nothing has stuck. Like, people are still talking about Epstein. Yep. So it actually isn't working for them. Really, really fascinating.
That's right.
The Epstein scandal has been kind of amazing. And part of it, like Tara said, the Streisand effect, Donald Trump keeps talking about it, but not only does he talk about it, he adds new facts.
And makes
we're
it
like,
worse.
What? You knew they were grooming girls, and you said the word again? I told him, don't do it again, and he did it again. The first time you didn't alert the police that that guy is taking your teenage girls to have sex with, you should have called the police. Right, so
he stole her.
He stole my teenage girls. Like,
which
how
is
dare he?
It's so disgusting. Like, first of all, you don't own her, but that's part of the dehumanizing language that a predator uses. Doesn't see her as a human being, sees her as property, chattel, a slave, to be passed around and used. And he was only mad that Epstein got to rape her before he could. That's what he means by he stole her. I was going to rape her, but then Jeff got there first, is really the subtext of it's my Trump to English translation. And I feel very bad, and I feel certain that I'm right about that.
Tara Dublin is right about that. That's the name of the show from now on. I feel certain I'm right about that with Tara Dublin.
I love that. I'll use it when I'm filling in for anybody on SiriusXM Progress. because I'm now
definitely.
going to be a fill-in host on
That's
SiriusXM
right.
Progress. You need to take a really long
Congratulations.
vacation, don't you? You're
I'll see what I can
tired.
do. I am tired. I just have a tan, so I look refreshed.
You look great.
So,
You always look good.
thank you, my friend. So let's shift gears here. I think it's Nitha's time this time. Nitha, this is on the lighter side, but it's still Trump. He put in writing last night into today. I'm looking at large amounts of money owed by the Democrats after the election, and the fact they admit to paying probably illegally $11 million to singer Beyonce for an endorsement. So his new thing is Democrats, and they admitted to giving $11 million to Beyonce. Can you please help us with the facts here?
I mean, these are all just so stupid that it doesn't even, I'm like, does this even dignify a response? But I guess we have to. It's just so pathetic. Meanwhile, Trump himself was golfing yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And then there was something that popped up that said, text, this number, so and so and so to be a part of whatever. I mean, like the person that always has the ultimate grift, the ultimate trying to make money off of his supporters, all kinds of conflicts of interest. It's absolutely ridiculous that he's making this claim. So, okay. So Harris campaign paid, I think it was $165,000 to Beyonce's production company, but that was for, I think, some costs related to an appearance that she did. So like some kind of sound and other stuff like that. So 165,000, nowhere near 11 million, not even close. And, and again, like facts don't matter in their world. They said it in the beginning, alternative facts and, truth isn't truth, as Giuliani said. So they just make up whatever. He says whatever, Trump says whatever, post whatever. Even on like social media, again, he said like Sunday from Scotland, which going to Scotland is its own distraction too. Like he thought, oh, let me go all the way over there so people will stop paying attention to Epstein. There, like, he said something that like, oh, it's probably illegal. And, for this endorsement, meanwhile, it actually is not illegal, even if the 11 million were given, because there's no federal law that forbids like technically endorsement payments. I mean, you would know that better, Dean, but that never even happened. But even if it did, it's not illegal.
It would be a
it's
scandal. It'd be like if you had $11 million payment to someone, people gave money to you, would be a little freaked out. But if you want to spend the money that way, I don't see any prohibition against doing that. You can't get $11 million donation directly, but they can give to your super PAC, and that's all legal, but not your direct.
right.
That's the kind of remarkable thing. So, I mean, Tara, is this just another of the don't talk about Epstein thing? And by the way, today, for what it's worth, we don't have to get into it, but he retweeted all these images of Obama and others in prison who I didn't even recognize half the people in the picture. I'm like, it's just random people he wants to put in prison now. And like all of this in the same day.
There's no legitimacy to any of this, right? It's all a distraction. It's all and like the fact that he's so juvenile and posting memes. You're posting memes now? Really? I mean, they have nothing. He has no way to fight this. No way to fight this except to try to scapegoat anybody that triggers MAGA. So if he can lay it on Obama, if he can say they really hate Beyonce for, because a successful billionaire black woman, no. So like of course, right. Of course, anything that he can do to rile the base is a distraction, but it is not working. We are making sure it's not working. And the fact that we've been saying this, that this is sticking to him like nothing else. That is what has rattled him the most, that he has not been able to figure out any way for this to go away. He can't make this go away. And I love it. His misery is my life's blood. Please, all of this, the finding out has been coming for so long and it's finally here. I'm going to enjoy it. I want everyone to soak up the schadenfreude. You are allowed to enjoy this demise. His brain is oatmeal. His body is betraying him. From here on out, I want just enjoy it because we have earned it.
His brain is oatmeal and his body's betraying him. I like it very much. Last thing, we can do this. We've got a couple minutes left. We can fact check this together because it's so bullshit, but it is concerning to me and to everybody, but also being Muslim is concerning. After the horrible shooting here in New York just a few days ago, not far from where I live, to be honest, some news outlets showed a picture of a guy who was wearing a Palestine shirt who was yelling "Free Palestine," who was also saying, "I'm not the shooter, but just free Palestine," which was kind of a weird thing. He clearly had mental health issues, right? He was not the shooter at all. The shooter was a whole different person. But Laura Loomer, who's horrific, and others on the right who really hate Muslims, were like, okay, we'll blame Muslims. And they shared a video, and she shared it as well. And they're literally fabricating stories here. And this is not to distract from Epstein. This is just to fuel hate by Loomer, who's actually says she's proud to be an anti-Muslim bigot. It's kind of a weird thing, but that's what she said. So what's your reaction to this bullshit? And we'll start with you, Tara, and then we'll go to Nitha before we wrap up.
Well, I hate racism. I hate xenophobia. I hate misogyny. I hate all of this. I hate it when people are targeted for their differences. It's all of it. And to scapegoat an entire population because you're embarrassed about what your guy is doing is fully wrong. Everything. And the shooter was not Muslim. I mean, you have to take accountability when it's one of yours, but they don't want to do that. This is a guy who was mentally ill. He was looking for the NFL. He might have had CTE. And what the other thing is, everyone is jumping before you get the facts. And that's a product of the social media environment that we've lived in for too long, and this immediate go to rage, go to blame. It's a lie, but unfortunately, these are the lies that take hold with MAGA, and they don't care about facts, and I don't think they ever have. So, but again, they can never take responsibility, regardless of what it is. Is there a convenient brown person? Great, do it to them.
Boom.
That's what it will. And if the brown person's not available, go to the Jews. We're there too. So again, it's all that.
We got like a minute left. I'm going to go to the brown person. Nitha,
do.
what is your reaction here to this bullshit?
So two things. Number one, not surprised at all, sadly, that Loomer and a whole bunch of crop of the bigots ran with this, and it was everywhere, all over social media, that it was a Palestinian protester. There was all this anti-Muslim, anti-Arab hate, and that got fueled everywhere. And then it turns out, guess what? That the hero cop who died was a Bangladeshi Muslim immigrant who was killed that day. Horrific. Now, the second part of this, so it was AM New York that published this piece where the incident initially happened. So they apparently detained. So there's a small footnote if you go to the story now, where it says an earlier version of the story included a report that two people, a man and a woman, had been initially taken into custody at the scene. One of the individuals had attended a nearby pro-Palestine protest. To be clear, police have not tied either individual to the shooting, blah, 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 blah. No, they haven't been charged. Long story short, those two people were profiled just because they happened to be at a pro-Palestinian protest. So you have that going on. So you had that picture that went around, and that's also why some other folks thought that it may have been a pro-Palestinian person. And I almost, going back to social media, how this spreads everywhere, I discussed this with somebody else that, oh my God, I'm seeing this, reported in AM New York, but it's not verified. And that goes back to the fact why you need real journalists who can verify claims, who get 2 or 3 sources before things get spread. But unfortunately, in this day and age, it goes like wildfire on social media.
I agree. So in the last 20 seconds, Tara, where can people follow you, my friend? And your
people
work?
Can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Tara Dublin Rocks. I'm on Instagram, Tara Dublin Rocks, the number 1. I have a Substack at Tara Dublin, and my book, The Sound of Settling, a rock and roll love story, which has nothing to do with politics, is available right now at TaraDublinRocks.com. And my podcast, The Tara Show, is on Tuesdays and Thursdays on the Political Voices Network.
What a busy person. And Nida Khan, what about you? Where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky, although I haven't really posted on Blue Sky too much yet. It's at Nida Khan, NY, NIDAKHANNY.
Thank you, my friend. You guys were great. Thanks for tuning into Bullbusters. We'll be back.
Thank you.